So when we talk about Salesforce test automation, everyone seems obsessed with one thing: speed. How fast can we go? But is that really the point? Today we're going to dig into why the real goal of regression testing isn't just about moving fast. It's about building stability. It's about, well, cultivating it.
All right, let's kick things off with a pretty cool idea. Think about your Salesforce org for a second. It's not some static, unchanging machine, right? It's a living ecosystem, a vibrant, complex jungle, constantly growing. You've got new features, new configs, new integrations branching out all over the place. And that, right there, is the big challenge. In a jungle like that, with new stuff sprouting up all the time, how in the world do you make sure that all this new growth doesn't end up choking out the important pathways that, keep the whole thing running? Which is actually the perfect way to frame our first section here, the Salesforce jungle. See, we're not just builders, we're more like cultivators. Our job is to tend this fast-growing, and let's be honest, sometimes pretty chaotic ecosystem.
And man, does it grow fast. Just think about it. Salesforce itself pushes 3 major releases every single year. And that's on top of all the changes your team is making day in and day out. It's this constant state of change that makes having a solid plan absolutely crucial.
Okay, so this is exactly where regression testing comes into play. You can think of it as the practice of, well, just checking that all the existing paths in your jungle are still clear after you've introduced something new. It's your safety net. It's what protects you from those nasty, unintended side effects.
But here's the thing. The path to really good automation is littered with these tempting but super dangerous shortcuts. So let's talk about the common traps that can turn your best intentions into a complete tangled mess.
So, trap number 1, trying to automate the entire jungle all at once. It's kind of like deciding you're going to pave the whole jungle floor. I mean, it's just overwhelming, right? It's impossible to maintain, and worse, you completely lose focus on the critical pathways that actually matter to the business.
Then there's trap number 2, which is just as bad: ignoring the very soil your jungle grows in. Look, if your test data is a mess and your environments aren't consistent, your tests are going to be unreliable. Period. They'll just create a ton of noise instead of clear signals. You just can't grow a healthy ecosystem on a shaky foundation.
And finally, trap number 3, the classic set it and forget it mindset. Your Salesforce org is a living, breathing thing, which means your automation suite has to be too. If you treat it like a one-and-done project, I guarantee you it will become outdated and pretty much useless in no time.
So you can really see the 2 different outcomes here. Take the wrong path, and you end up with tests that are fragile, a nightmare to maintain, and just create a lot of noise. But if you follow the cultivator's path, you get automation that's resilient, low maintenance, and gives you actual, valuable insights into the health of your whole system.
Okay, so the big question is, how do we stay on that cultivator's path? Well, let's break down the 4 key principles for sustainable growth in our Salesforce jungle.
Think of this as our map. First up, we're going to define a clear scope. Second, we'll build the framework before we even think about a tool. Third, we have to choose the right layer for our tests. And finally, number 4, we have to maintain our tests just like we would any other piece of critical code.
All right, let's dive into that first one: scope. The secret here is that you don't test everything. You can't. Instead, you pinpoint the most critical, high-risk pathways. Think of them as the main arteries of your business, and you focus your automation there. This means you've got to talk to your business users, map out those super important journeys, like, say, a new customer checkout or a critical case resolution flow. The goal is not 100% coverage. It's 100% confidence in the things that matter most.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. Automation is not a silver bullet. It is an amplifier of structure and clarity. It really doesn't fix a messy process, If your strategy is all over the place, automation is just going to make that chaos bigger. But if you have a clear, solid plan, automation will amplify that. And that's when you become incredibly effective.
Now for principle number 2, build the framework before the tool. So many teams just jump straight to picking a tool, but a tool is just the hands. It's the executor. Your framework? That's the brain. It's what defines all the rules of engagement. What gets tested? When do the tests run? Who looks at the failures? How do we report back to the team? Get this part right, and honestly, whatever tool you end up choosing has a much better shot at being successful.
Okay, principle 3 is all about choosing the right layer to test on. A great way to think about this is to picture your Salesforce org as a tree.
Testing way up at the UI level, that's the canopy, is super important for making sure those end-to-end user journeys actually work. But those tests can be slow and, frankly, a bit brittle. Now, if you go deeper, down to the API level, the roots, you can test your core logic and integrations with incredible speed and stability. A really smart strategy uses a mix of all these layers, making sure you're testing the right thing at the right level.
And that brings us to our final principle, number 4. You have to maintain your tests. Your test suite isn't static. It's a living asset, and it needs constant care. So when a new feature comes out, or when Salesforce does a big update, your automation suite has to evolve right along with it. It's this discipline, making test maintenance just a normal part of your team's definition of done, that truly keeps your automation valuable over the long haul.
So after all that, what's the big payoff? What's the reward for all this discipline? Well, it's simple. When you finally stop chasing speed for speed's sake and start cultivating real stability, you end up building a truly thriving ecosystem. And the benefits are real, they're tangible. You get much faster feedback cycles, you get consistent test coverage you can actually trust. Your team spends way less time on that soul-crushing manual QA work. And maybe most importantly, you gain the confidence to deploy more often. Releases stop being these big, stressful events and just become a predictable, almost boring process. And boring is good.
Which really brings us to the main takeaway here. Automation isn't supposed to replace your QA strategy. It's meant to be a partner to it. When your tools and your strategy are working hand in hand, that's when you create that powerful safety net that allows your Salesforce jungle to not just grow, but to truly thrive.
So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a question to think about. Take a good, honest look at your own Salesforce environment and ask yourself, is our automation strategy actually cultivating long-term stability, or are we just chasing speed?